Hi, this is Velma Bland. I am going to speak on some issues tonight. I want to first, before I get on to move on to Genesis 27, the stolen blessing. The issues I want to touch base on is I know that there are many people who are, they have a dislikableness for those citizens or residences from Dania, Florida. I remember when I was a teen, Sunland Park is where everyone from Dania, we used to ride our 10-speed bikes up here, my friends and I. Or we would eventually um, meet up with friends of friends who owned motorcycles and we would ride up. And there was always some band or some show going on at the park. And these were the fun days where everyone had something to do on Saturday. And I mean, it was food and go across the street and Burger King and everyone is enjoying each other. But what I learned as a Native American, as a native Floridian, what I've learned is that there's many territories or out boundaries to certain people from certain cities. And I really don't understand it because we're all Floridians. I don't understand why someone from Hollywood would have a dislikableness for someone from Dania, or why someone from Fort Lauderdale would hate Dania or Dania hate Fort Lauderdale. I really don't understand it. I think it's a guy thing, but I really do think it's a guy thing. I do. I think it's something to do with the guys having selectiveness in their girlfriends or their native girls from or city girls from their neighborhoods are going over to other neighborhoods and dating other guys and bringing them to their neighborhoods. So I think that's where it all started. But I think it's kind of silly because it shouldn't matter because if you're not interested in someone that lives in the same city where you live, what do you care if she goes over to Mozambique or wherever she wants to go and find some true love? Because if you don't want her, what I mean, what does it mean? And I hear this thing, well, oh, they're too ugly. Oh, they're too this, they're too that. But we have a lot of pretty broke bitches, and they do not have any money in their bank accounts or more credit. They're pretty. So who's going to take care of that pretty, broke girlfriend that your mother chooses because she's pretty? I know I'm pretty. I might be a little overweight, but I'm pretty. I don't wear wigs. I don't wear anything false. I barely wear makeup. Every time I put a wig on, it's very hot. I tried wigs, but I don't like wigs. I like pieces. Like you put a piece. And when I cut my hair because it's very hot here in South Florida, and my hair started to having some issues. I think it was the water. Something was wrong with the water here, and I cut my hair because my hair started to break in. I don't like to put perm on my hair. I used to put like softeners on it because my hair grow really thick and it gets really hard sometimes. But I shaved it to bring the natural grade back, and now my hair is soft again. But what I need to do is wet it and put moisturizers on it, and then I can fix my hair the way I want to fix it. But if I don't believe in me, who will? Who will believe in me if I do not believe in me? I don't take anyone else's imperial criticism, imperial criticism about my looks because these people that always talk about too ugly, too this and this, they're the main ones who are lacking in confidence and decision making of their children or of themselves. Because we can't go on pretty because I know many ugly duckling brides. And the ugly duckling brides get married because these are the women who are either have the hold their college degrees, come from good families, and they might have a father with a business or something like that, and the guy married someone. Usually, his family are doing the same. So that's where marriages are built, and it's one of the reasons why it's very important that everyone try and rebuild upon their statuses. Social status is very important because their social statuses already have been formulated, and the demeanor of our social status as Black Americans has taken us to the bottom level of being considered as minority groups and ghetto. And many people from the minority population are in denial that they're a minority. They don't want anyone to call them a minority group. A minority group. These are people with incomes anywhere low incomes to incomes which are fixed through minimum wage, low income, and two family low incomes together will only balance the budget. But how are you going to afford to pay for groceries now? We have chicken is $8.31, pork chop $9.31. You get a family pack. The cost of living is very expensive. For us to still have a minimum wage around was, I think the last time I checked, it was, if it wasn't 10, it was 7.25. I'm not sure, I forgot. But the minimum wage when I started working in the mid 70s, right after high school, was $1.90 per hour. And we worked the same job, had the same sweat as those of you who are working these jobs right now today in the restaurants, and they're earning $10 an hour. So imagine $1.90 per hour, just rounded off $2 an hour, times 8, and barely made $16 a day. So we got 15, 15, 15, 15. That's $60, $75 a week, $80 a week. And then when you got your paycheck, you had to pay your mother or your guardian half of it. And by the time they take taxes out, you got $30. So you want 20 in the bank. You want to put 20 in the bank, and you keep 10 for your lunch money or 10 for your bus money. How are you going to go out? You depend on the guy to pay for your date, and you better bring some money. So how is it you're going to save when your parents are taking your whole check from you every week? That was one of the questions that I had. I worked making $90 per week, the most, if I did a little overtime. And by the time federal tax and Social Security comes out of that check, its deductibles comes out of that check, your check is like $79, maybe 75. So you're giving half of it away, and you're left with 35 the most dollars. How could you save any money like that? And that was $1.90 an hour. Now we have people working the same jobs as I worked in the past. They're earning at least $10 an hour, the most maybe $10, $11 an hour. Okay, so you're getting a little bit more, $400, $380 a week, $325 in your check is your net pay, $325. So now we're going to give half of that to your parents every week. You get paid every 2 weeks, so you're getting like $650. So you think you make a big check, $10 an hour for most. Your rent or your mortgage is like $800 per month. Then you have a car, you got to get to work, the most $300. So if you're making $325 times 4, we have $1,300 per month. You have an $820 mortgage. You have your car insurance, which is like $160. You have your car note, $300. You have food. We're past $1,300. And that's how much it costs me to stay here. My mortgage and everything, $1,300 a month. Now I can easily get a job. It's no problem at all. But having to work under someone that is uneducated and rude and mean and nasty and wicked every day, and I'm a doctor in postdoc study, it's like, oh, I need to build my own dreams now. It's time to get serious about it. But what I mainly want to speak about is that territory is very important. We all want our space. We don't trust people in our territory. Animals are the same. But if I'm the native and if I've lived in the state of Florida, I don't care if I move to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Orlando, Jacksonville, St. Augustine. You have no right to ask me to go anywhere because I am a native and Floridian, and this is my home, and I'm not moving. I'm not going anywhere. I own my condo, and you're not running me out of here because you're trifling or because you need a place to stay and you want to break and enter and squat because you know the law moves so slow, and they're going to let you lay up in here until I'm in foreclosure, and then I can't get you out of here. But I don't care about the law if you squat in my house. And that's the honest to God truth. Somebody gonna die because you're not coming in my house and squatting. Someone's gonna lose their life if you come to my house and squat. And you'll tell me I can't get you out of my house. And you came in here purposely just to cause me, to aggravate me, to cause me some hardship, and say you're not moving out. If you break in my house and squat, that you're gonna change the locks. That's what we got people around here saying. You're crazy if you come in my house and squat. Because I'm coming through that door. Because I own it. You're getting out of here. And that's what we call territory. How is it that you can say that because I'm from Dania, I don't belong in Lauderdale Lakes, or because I'm from Dania, I was born in Dania, but I never lived in Dania any longer than 4 years. My mom had me home delivery at home, right across from the airport, Griffin Road and Third Terrace, right there by the canal. My daddy was doing a gig. He was a drummer, Clips, and a lot of women was after him. Very handsome guy. And my mom had me. I was born at home. I had a brother 15 months older than me and two half sisters ahead of me. So it was four of us. Two, he tried to raise two other men children along with his two she had, and she still wasn't satisfied. And they broke up. He did the best he could. She did the best she could. We broke up as soon as I was born. So I know what it's like to struggle. And just because my parents broke up, it didn't mean that I need to break up away from my soul and make myself a homeless person. I started a job in the summer. I lived with my grandmother. I lived with my aunt who decided to let me stay with her. She had just lost a baby due to stillborn in 56. And I was like a blessing to her. I came along in 57, and because my parents broke up, and it got so bad until I was left behind and abandoned, my aunt accepted me in her home. She already had 5 children. And when I came along, God bless her, she had a baby the next year. I was born September 57, and in November 58, she had her last son. And that was 6 kids of her own, and I made 7. And it caused a lot of problems in her family because her husband had another mouth to feed now. So what we're going to do with Velma? We need to get Velma to her mother. But my mother didn't come for me. My daddy didn't either. My grandmother didn't want me. So this is what we're saying here is we got territory. We have Velma. Okay. Should not have ever been born. And that's the way I had seen it since I was a child. I saw it that way since I was born. And I should have never been born. So why the hell I need to have children? Have children for what? I would love to have kids, willfully have kids, if I was married and had a responsible husband, or at least someone that started out with me, then we got married. But I grew up that, we're not supposed to have babies out of wedlock, that you should be married, and that before you got married, you needed to have counseling. The parents needed to bond. It was a lot of strict discrimination going on. You are not going to marry into someone's family if your father and your mother were not the type of people that they thought that they're your daughter. My father came. My father came from, originally was born in Osceola, and he came from a family that was a Christian family. But when he came from the Air Force, because he was a new generation, my dad broke the barrier of getting married before you have kids. And so what that caused was, that caused me to be born out of wedlock, and my brother as well. My mother already had two kids, and she was not even divorced from her husband that was beating her up, she said. And this is the story she told me, God bless her dead, that her first husband was beating her a lot, and she left him. And she ended up in Dania, met my dad. He had just came out of the U.S. Air Force. He didn't have any children. He didn't have to get with my mom, but he saw her standing there with two kids, and I believe she was 18 years old, and she had a 6-year-old, no, not a 4-year-old, and a toddler, 1-year-old, my two older sisters. And then over the course of 2 years after that, my brother was born in 56 and I was born in 57. And my grandparents adopted my brother and I because my parents broke up in order for us to receive the support from his longshoremen. See, grandfather was working at the railroad jobs, and he also worked at the Port Everglades for many, many years. He was a foreman out there. So I grew up having to have my hand out like this, and I got tired of it. So I started work when I was 15, and my first job was at the Riverside Laundry beside my maternal and paternal grandmother. Both worked at the Riverside Laundry. And my paternal grandmother worked at the canning plant, the tomato plant, and my maternal grandmother did as well, because they all moved down from Georgia, and locations like around Georgia, and I think my maternal grandfather is from New Jersey, and he met his wife, my grandmother, my mom's mom, maternal mother. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was either Georgia or South Carolina. I'm not sure, because I don't know my maternal side of the family very well, because my dad people raised me up. So I grew up with nothing but a family that I had to beg from. I had to pray and hope. I got a Christmas gift. Here's the Bible. I'm not lying. And I was a kid. Never had a birthday party. And you all complaining that I think I'm better than people. And I used to watch you. You had a mother, a father. You had a garage in your yard. You all had nice cars. You had pretty clothes. You had plenty of food. And I'm the one think I'm better. Because I graduated with a doctorate program and I'm about to attain a dissertation, qualifying. I think I'm better. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to sit down on the ground and let you all step all over me for the rest of my life? Is that why you got all this noise going on through audio sound, through your cars? They got the cars out there with some stupid equipment in the back of their cars. And when they get out of the car, they turn this little dial on, and then that is a frequency wave. And they go in the house and they talk on a high definition frequency wave. Velma planet, Velma planet, Velma planet. That's why you know your mama left you in the house. Velma planet, come and pocket, yeah, 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 yeah. And then you hear, oh my God, after that. That's some crazy people. You're some crazy people. Oh, she ugly, that. Ugly, that. Ugly, that. Ugly, that. Since I cut my hair, I'm ugly. I'm a beautiful person, and I have a beautiful personality. But I refuse to tolerate ghetto, stupid mess from anybody. I'm going to put you in your place every time. And that's one of the reasons why I don't have any friends, because they know and they knew that if you mess with me, you need to know how to get down. You need to know how to get down, because I didn't bother anyone. I tried to be a part of the group. I tried to be with everybody in the group, and they don't talk to her. And the next thing you know, everybody over there and I'm over here. Well, why I'm over here and everybody over there? I come over there, nobody want to play with me. And you still got this little childish game, ladies, going on since grade school, since kindergarten. All the guys that knew me growing up know that I was by myself. And I was very mature and I took care of myself. I did have some little opportunities in between. I did. But I worked since I started working. I was 15 years old. And I hadn't stopped until I had some problems, and I started with finished high school, and I came back and I studied a business communication program because I had some problems with communication. People were just wasn't communicating with me, and so I studied business communication programs. In fact, the bank where I worked, they sent me and some other females to employee relations training, business communication program, how to respond to customers at the counter, how to cross-train sales. I've had all that, creative therapy, how to reframe the conversation to be into another to go another direction when someone's negative. I know all of that, but when someone has a barrier between you and they're hostile and their demeanor and they're conceited and they're imperial and they're feeling they are better than everyone in a manner of as far as social class concerned, and that's where we're speaking about your social class. If your social class to them are not middle class and elite as theirs, they're not gonna want you to any parties. You're not gonna get married to their brother. You're not gonna date their cousins. You're not gonna be invited to any parties because your daddy streaked across the park and your mother killed the man in self-defense and your daddy was accused of doing certain things that has to do with misbehavior, and your daddy was accused of messing with people in the family, molestation, and all these things. But if my daddy, he never touched me before, so how did he touch you? Why did he touch you? He never touched his daughter. I should be the first one he put his hands on. Here's my hand to God right here. He never molested me. There's a Bible in my hand. So everyone has something going on about Velma Bland. And what it is that she has never laid her neck down for you to cut it off. And because she's been fighting and fighting and fighting, large group of haters, most likely, most of them are women who cut me out, outcast me, because I didn't follow their traits. We all have different traits. I was following them, but I got out of it because it was not benefiting me any at all. I ended up by myself, doing my thing alone, because I figure if I go by myself, I don't have to worry about people wah, 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 wah about my business. And I'm 57 today, and I'm ugly to everybody, and they look like grandmamas come from under the underground. And when I see them, and you're younger than I am, half of you, and you look older than me. And the women that's out of high school with me, you look old as hell. And you say, I'm ugly? I don't think so. Maybe because I don't have a wig on my head, I don't know. But I really don't care. Because I learned how to take care of myself. Because I was told, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. And I was down there in Brooklyn and Stuyvesant's walking and nobody put their hands on me. I guess they could look at me and see you don't put your hands on me. And I didn't carry a switchblade. I didn't carry any weapons on me. All I had was my purse. And that's the honest God truth right here. It's about Brooklyn, New York. Bed-Stuyvesant. Bed-Stuyvesant. I think that's what they call it. I didn't have a knife or anything on me. I just had my purse. And nothing happened to me at all in those rough areas where I lived. And went up there with a boyfriend that I met that was from New York. And we were engaged. I had the diamond on my finger and everything. And when I got up there and his mother didn't like me because people didn't like me, this didn't like me, this, that. And know what they didn't like? They didn't like me. We want you to marry somebody that got money. And Velma Bland was kicked to the curb. And then what happened? God sent me a very nice man, and I didn't care. He was 53 and I was 23. And I married him. And he gave me all that he could give me, but he was strict. But I still worked when I got back home. When I reached back to the U.S., we moved to London, and I reached back to the U.S., I went to work. I still worked. No one were millionaires. We had some money where we could have bought a house as soon as we got here. But he didn't want to buy a house. But eventually got this condo, and unfortunately he passed on of cancer. He aged and passed on to cancer. Man has never been sick all his life. He died when he was 82. He lived a long life. Now tell me how many people you know live to be 82. And they don't get sick until the last 3 years of their livelihoods. He moved here, he was already sick. You know, I'm left in debt. I don't have nobody. I've done a lot of money around here. I gotta pay this mortgage. I don't mind helping my friends, and I know they're going to help me. That's the way life is. You got to find somebody that's going to help you, and you treat them the same way. Surely we're going to say nasty things to each other. And I'm very moody. And if things are not clean, or if somebody around me and they're doing things that I don't appreciate, it's just certain things bother me. And it's just because I'm moody. But I get back in my place. But, you got to know my do's and don'ts and my likes and my dislikes. And just, stay away from me sometimes. I like my privacy. But I'm not going to I wouldn't see my family suffer. But it seems like my family want me to suffer. That's what I have been through all my life. And they want me to suffer. And they may deny it, but it's true. It's just what it's seemingly that, no one calls, no one visits, but I'm supposed to call and visit them all the time. And so this is a world where people are self-preserved and everybody is for themselves. And if you don't have any children, you don't get any calls, nobody visits, because you got to have children in order to have friends and all this sorts of stupid stuff that's going on in the black society, which is stupid to me. And I don't run behind anyone. I believe that the only person in the world that I need to run behind him is Jesus Christ. Is always my friend. I'm not going to run behind people who hate themselves, because if you liked yourself, you wouldn't have complaints about everybody else. And no one told you to go out there and get yourself locked into a mess where you can't live your life happy, and you see somebody else has not as much debt as you, or as much children as you, or as much problems and issues as you. Now you want to put them on blast. We're going to put them on blast. We're going to put them on blast. It's stupid. It's really stupid. Grown folks. Now there's 10-year-old children out there have more sense than you. Put them on blast. Get mad. No, put them on blast. Now that's what you do. It used to be, we're going to flat your tire, we're going to put roots on you and something like that. They're doing that, put roots on you, put you on blast, steal your man, get baby pregnant for him, and then bring the baby out in front of you when the baby's born so you can see the baby look like the daddy. That's some trifling women. But I think I'm better than you. You goddamn right. You goddamn right. And that's on the end.